Hello, my lovelies. Hello, Kelsey, darling. Hope you're still there. Just wait to see if a few people jump on or not. And if not, I will be speaking to myself. So is there anybody out there? Are you Pop? Are you Kelsey? Yeah, just wait for a few more people to jump on. It's been a slow day today, hasn't it? I've noticed on the internet, on YouTube especially. Yeah, Kelsey, just stopping this, nasty troll getting on because it's just using me, clickbaiting me all the time, and putting up fake. It gets Twitter says that I've sent out Twitter messages which I never sent out. I never accused Sparkle of all sorts on Twitter. I am mad, but you get accused of it, and it's sinister. It's getting very, very sinister as usual with that thing. Lovely mad. Yeah, it's getting very sinister again. Just goes around making up lies all the time. And when you get threats by email office, and it's got loads of stock accounts. But you like my little puppy? That's what I'd look like if I was a puppy. It's not my puppy, by the way, but wouldn't I? That's what I'd look like if I was a puppy. Cute, pretty, cuddly, like I am as a human. Cute, pretty, cuckoo. So anyway, let's get the latest drama out of the way. Some of you might notice that I've taken down the video with Michelle Delaney, or Delaney, however she pronounces it. I think it's Delaney or something like that. She knows it, doesn't she? Why I've taken it down? It's because an awkward thing happened. The person she associates with this Noodles fella is, I don't know, he just doesn't come across as the best person for a travel advisor now. And last night she appeared in a live stream of a person who, whether he's got Asperger's or not, it's disgusting. A disgusting, vile individual whose husband, I won't name names here, husband was is still inside actually for doing things to two disabled boys or disabled children. I think they were boys, yeah, sure they were boys. Very, very young disabled children. Anyway, hiya Aki, hiya Johnny. This YouTuber that is the husband of this fella in prison was making an excuse from saying that the children more or less seduced him and was saying, F me, F me, F me. You want to see the state of one for the bleeding husband he's married to. And this YouTuber has got Asperger's, you can tell it's got learning difficulties. But yet the husband doesn't, I can assure you, doesn't have any learning difficulties whatsoever. Anyway, he made excuses for him, then said he didn't do it, but then said that the children were saying, F me, F me. Which one is it? He did it or he didn't? And then he, what was it he said as well? Oh yeah, he wanted to hate the children for what they did to his husband. Right, this is disabled children to a grown man who's in prison right now. Anyway, who do I see popping up? Michelle. I thought, oh, what's going on here? What's going on here? I thought, this is creepy. But this noodle fella comes on that she hangs around with. or leather jackets or whatever he's called. I don't know. And he actually got challenged, which was good. Someone on the panel challenge said, "What are you doing getting Michelle?" And Michelle herself has dysphagia. You can tell she's got learning difficulties. She doesn't compute things as they should be computed. You can tell he's put it up to doing this. And what he wants her to be an international star, which isn't going to happen. Sorry, it isn't going to happen. Being intersex is not going to make you a star. So he'd led her on there. You could tell. And even though he was being challenged actually on this live stream, why are you putting Michelle here? Why are you putting Michelle in contact with these people? Still, he's still going ahead with it, and still Michelle is. And I thought, I've got to make a decision here. I'm not comfortable with this. And it's not Michelle that I'm not comfortable with. I don't think Michelle understands. I don't think she realizes. She just thinks she's going to be famous on the internet. And she's also got into this terrible mindset, which I'm sure this Noodles has put in, that even bad publicity is good publicity. No, it isn't. It can destroy you. Bad publicity can destroy you, right? And get your right reputation. Now, being in sex, we're hated on anyway. But then associating yourself with someone like that and going on their shows, of course you'll get noticed, but you'll get noticed in all the wrong bleeding ways. So I've drawn back from it. And as far as I'm concerned, the documentary's down. I don't want anything not that I'm doing this because I don't like Michelle. I'm just doing it because you have to draw a line and say that is wrong. And my only last advice of Michelle here is get that Noodles or leather what he is and just get him out of your life, because he's going to lead you down a path that is not right. Not right at all. So that's why it happens. But you can never predict these things are going to happen. So that's why I did it. Yeah, that's a chihuahua. That's me, what it looked like. It's Johnny. That's what I'd look like if I was a puppy. I'd be cute and lovely. So that's out the way, why I did that. Of course, the little trolley is carrying on clickbaiting, which is all that you'd expect, lying about me all the time. And interesting thing happened. I was in Matt Taylor's live chat, and it was mentioned about Michelle that I'd taken down the video. And so I explained why I'd taken down the video. Anyway, little trolley mouse later on. I don't know if it was later on or didn't. Yeah, it was later on. Was putting up all kinds of rubbish about me. And I said, what about James Hind? This James Hind, who, forgive me if you don't know who these people are, but James Hind, who's like this self-proclaimed Satanist who's supposed to be out to, protect children and all this. Yeah, I agree in one sense, right? When it comes to things that are said about Hampstead and the children and all that, you can't mention the names. You just can't, because it's unfair to mention the children's name. And do I think that was a hoax? Yeah, I do think it was a hoax. So he's right in that, but he goes too far with it. But apparently he admitted that he pretends to be, I don't know, this is supposed to be trying to, I don't know the full backstory, but he pretends to be a 12-year-old child online, or has done, and acquired illegal images of children and was passing them on to children. I don't think the allegation is he passed them on to children. I don't believe that. That, I think, is a stretch. I think something's been twisted in the telling here, and very, very much doubt he'd pass her on to children. But I asked little creepy Moosey, right? I said, well, why don't you pull him up on that? Go great one against all these people who do things to children. Oh, he didn't do wrong. Straight away, because he's friends with him, he didn't do wrong. And that tells you what it's all about, people. It's not about protecting children or anything. It's about just, well, in that thing's case, it's nothing more but someone extremely unhinged and disturbed. No way if they've got grandchildren with them. No way, because they haven't got time to look after them. They're continually on the internet, 24/7. But again, let it get on with it. My name being used, it loves you and my name. Anyway, so who are you talking about, Kelsey? I'm a disgrace. I hope he comes back and forgives me. Who's yous are talking about, Kelsey? Who's yous are talking about? Oh, Aki. Oh, you can't time out Aki. He's nice, Aki. He's nice. Oh, and of course, yes. What was I going to talk about next? I've forgotten what I was going to talk about next, my lovelies. But I was going to talk about something, but I've forgotten it because my concern for Kelsey took over. But she's a bit of a cow, isn't she? Isn't she a cow doing that? Timing out poor Aki. Bit of a cow. Go on, hiss boo. Everyone's got the right to hiss boo. Hiss boo, Kelsey, in the chat. Not like me that time when I blocked Julie's by accident. I was like, what have I done? What have I done? It's like if it suddenly jumps, isn't it? You get the wrong person. I've had that happen to me. Oh, yeah, I still have me cat, Koshka. He's downstairs at the moment. And he's a lovely thing, he is. He's absolutely lovely pair. But last night, we tried to get in my bedroom. And he's a strong little thing. You can push that door, you can really push it. And cause all kinds of ruckus. So I had to say, get back downstairs. Get back downstairs. Because I don't, you don't want animals on your bed, do you? Because it starts shedding hairs and then it's a nightmare. There we are, Johnny. You tell her. Boo, boo. Yeah, but he's got. Well, I was going to say something. He did something the other day, which was funny. I've forgotten what he did. Yeah, he did something to say. Oh, what was he did? Oh yeah, well, I've noticed about him since I got this cat flap in the door, so we can come and go as he pleases. I thought, oh great. Oh, he's back again. Aki's back. I thought he can just go out now because what it was, if I went to bed and he was out in one of his night trolls, which cats like doing, don't they? They're really nocturnal creatures most of the time. He couldn't get back in. He'd have to wait until the morning, until I got up, and he'd be sitting waiting for me. And I thought, how long has he been sitting out there? God love him. Anyway, since I thought he'll just come in, well, it's made him lazy, hasn't it? He just, because he knows now he can come in and go as he please. He just either stays in the house or goes in the garden and lies down and sunbathes. Yeah, sunbathes in the garden for hours and hours. So he's getting bigger and bigger and bigger around his girth, isn't he? He's a little tubby. So I don't know whether he goes. He might go out in the middle of the night when I'm asleep. I don't know. But when I wake up, he's always in the living room meowing at me. Give me food. Give me food. Anyway, so how's everyone been doing? Is everyone okie dokie okie K? Anything anyone wants to discuss it or talk about? Any drama that's out there? I haven't even been looking at the Dekahegi. It's gone boring, hasn't it? Which happens. Boring it's getting with Deca. I think he'll eventually have his run his time, won't he? And people move on. This where those happens moves on to the next drama. And the one, oh god, that he's desperate, isn't he? Shadow Boxer, he's desperate to be the next sensation, isn't he? Desperate. Things he keeps on putting out there, trying to be the next sensation on YouTube, which I don't think will happen. Oh, it's the king in town. King Charles III. But they say the same thing they talk about. It's like, oh, boy, now I could never stand listening to taking up with this. Used to just scream out, man, every second word is man, man, man. Just not a nice thing to listen to, but I'm going to be starting to try to do some nice little short videos. I'm going to be doing little short videos, testing things out to see how they go, see if people like them. The King's Scottish coronation. Do they have a Scottish coronation? They don't, do they? Or do they? So it was for the whole of the UK. Oh, what's the point? I mean, he's the King of the UK, isn't he? And Scotland at the same time. Do they have a separate? Because when you think that happens, they should do it for Wales as well, shouldn't they? Already didn't it? Poor Wales, they always get lead left out, don't they, Wales? Just taken totally for granted for Wales is. I mean, why doesn't he have to get coronation in Wales as well? I always said that about Wales. Wales is like the part of, you hear Ireland, which they actually have got a good reason to complain about what happened to them at the hands of the English. Certainly do, I think. Scottish don't have so much sympathy with, because the Scottish were a huge force that were trying to invade England all the time. So, it's going to cause trouble, the Bishops' Wars and all that. So there, I don't see that. I think that was always a warring state. So the Scottish can't claim to be these victims when they were trying to cross our borders. But the Welsh had a horrific time as well under the English. And that's always forgotten or never spoken about. But they had a horrendous time. They never seemed to get the same kudos as Ireland. Oh, we wouldn't have done that on purpose. He wouldn't have done that on purpose. I can assure you, Johnny. He wouldn't have done that on purpose. It's just, you don't forget where John is at the moment. His hours are strange. It's like it's the middle of the night or the early hours of the morning now where he is. So 11 o'clock, I think that will be more or less close to evening to them. So he wouldn't have done it. He's never said anything that I can tell you this 100%. He's not mentioned you, said anything bad about you or anything. Last time he mentioned you was when he was on that live, and he said, would you like to do a live with him? And that, would you like to come on and discuss things with him? That was the only time he hasn't mentioned it. So he's certainly not done it out of spite or to be funny. Oh, good. Good job, mate. Are you Tiller? Change your happy. Yeah, I never tune into them. It's like I more or less hear, it's someone else I'll hear saying, oh, look at this, then I might look to see what's going on. But most of it's, honestly, it's a lot of old tripe, it is. A lot of old tripe. So shall I get on to the, which I'm going to sneeze. I'm going to have a sneeze. I wish I could remember what I was going to say. I was going to say something hysterical about what Koshka did. That would have had you all laughing and rolling on the floor with your legs kicking up there. He did something really funny, and I can't remember what it is. Or he did something interesting. But then I've gone and forgotten it, so it couldn't have been all that funny at the end. Oh, I'm doing my floor as well. Oh, good God. I'm sanding my living room floor. I took all, because I don't like it. I've never liked it, and I don't know why I had to put down. No laminate floor, and I don't like it. I don't like the sound of it. When you walk on it, I don't like the look of it. I don't like anything about it. So I knew there were wooden floorboards underneath it, so I thought, right, they're coming up. I don't like them. So got it all taken up. Oh, Good God, those floorboards, when I say they've seen better days, don't forget this is an old house. They've seen better days. And I thought, oh, I'll get a good strong thing, sander and sand them down. Now, I knew from seeing one of my neighbours, she did hers a few years back and she varnished them. And it just looked like a khaki, horrible daisy orange colour when she varnished them. So I thought, I'm not going to varnish them. I'm going to, just put a stain in them. They'll have to go darker. They'll just have to go darker. Put a stain in it, and then I like varnish, tough varnish on the top, because I don't want to be having scratch varnish or flake varnish that has to be bleeding, taken off at a future date. Because most of it's covered by rugs anyway. You don't see most of the floor because there's going to be rugs on it. Anyway, so I've started, and a couple of days to start on it, and I'm doing it like you would with a sander, and it's a good sander. My God, it's powerful, and doing it straight level. And I thought, this is going to take ages, because of course the warped as well in part, so the sander isn't getting down to the grain, it's just going over the edges of it and removing them. So I thought, right, what am I going to do here? Then it's got a little spinner tube at the front that you do the corners with. So I started doing it with the tube. Wow! Why didn't I do that a couple of days ago? It's much, much faster when I do it at the end. So I made up. Tomorrow I can get really stuck in, and hopefully by Friday it'll be finished, and I'll just have to get this. But you've got to get all the dust up. That's the terrible part, isn't it? You can't have one bit of dust still on there. Then stain it, then varnish it, and a nice matte varnish, because of course you put a shiny or even a satin varnish on there, it's going to scratch. Because someone was saying to me, why don't you what they use in theatres and ballet studios, the flooring, which can be beautiful. You can get it in black or white, and it's beautiful looking flooring, and that's a soft sheen to it. And I said, yeah, scratches in no time, which it does. It always ends up scratching. So that's going to be my job for the next 2 days, finishing that off. But it's a pity because they'll never look. I'd looked at them a light wood colour, but there's no way they'll go light unless you paint them white. And no way am I putting paint down there, because you've got to get it off again if you ever need to redo it, and I'm just not doing it. Last time you dusted, shall I tell you something? Quentin Crisp, the great gay icon, he never dusted. You'll actually see a video where he talks about this on YouTube. He never dusted his house. And he said, I forget what it was, he said after the first 4 years, he said the dust doesn't get any worse. So he never dusted his house, my God. Oh God, yeah, the nails, I know that it rips the sanding belts to pieces, doesn't it? But the sanding belts are good. You know what? They really last a long time. That's what's good about them. Because they've got an eraser, you can get a special eraser that you use to clean the sheets, the sand sheets, so they last longer now. I had to use it because they really do last a long time, as they are. But there was all paint on them. Oh, there was all sorts. And I just want now to want. I'd like a carpet in my bedroom. I'd like a carpet there, but I don't like carpets because one, I'm terrible. I'll sort of sit on the floor, lounge on the floor with me back up against the settee, and I'll have a cup of coffee on the floor. And what happens? Idiot here always forgets and kicks her over at some point. And with a cat as well, I don't want to be old, because if you've ever got an old corpse and ripped her up when it's old, oh God, the disgusting things they are. So, but in a bedroom, because you're only in there for a short time when you're sleeping, they don't get dirty, do they? So, anyways, let's get on with Quizzy Wizzy. Let's get busy. Quizzy Wizzy, let's get busy. Right, here we go. Get ready, folks. Let's see. In what year did the Beatles split up? In what year did the Beatles split up? The greatest band in the world. The greatest band in the world. What year did the Beatles split up? Oh, Johnny. What planet have you been on for the past few decades? 1970, Andre got that. 1970, no, Steve. No, when you say 1974, you're thinking of when they returned from America, which was 64. They got back. See how knowledgeable I am on the Beatles. Well, love them. 64, they got back from their American tour. So 1970 was when the Beatles split up. The greatest, most successful band ever. Well, it's one that you'll get, Johnny. You'll get this because I know you're a huge fan of them, and I can see you dancing around your kitchen singing all the songs. Complete this Spice Girls lyric. If you want to be my blank, you got to get with my friends. So what's the missing word? If you want to be my blank, you got to get with my friends. Go on, Johnny. I bet you sing all these. No, it's not Neptune. Come on, Jockey. You must. Jockey, I am totally ashamed of you, embarrassed for you that you didn't know. You went to first say lover. I know you sing all these. And you like Steps, don't you? You're a Steps fan as well. I know you. There we are. You're a Steps fan as well, aren't you? Right. Actually, well, here's the second one. What was that song called? What was that song actually called? What was that song by the Spice Girls? Actually, they were good, the Spice Girls. I mean, it's easy to knock, these groups, but some of them were really good. Compared to the crap we could have in the 80s, I always say that. Wannabe, that's it, Kelsey. What will it say? Wannabe. No, it wasn't Spice Up Your Life. That was a different song, Johnny. But yeah, it's easy to knock them up. People forget the horrendous things we used to get in the late 70s and 80s. People look back with fondness, but it wasn't all good. It was a lot of cack around. But I think the 90s and early 2000s, and even now, you can get some really brilliant stuff. The quality is much higher now than what it used to be. For most of the time, anyway. Let's say, I'm looking, let's see. I'm sure I've had some of these before. Here we are, go on to some sports one. What are the five? Oh no, I'm not asking that because it will take ages for you to type it down. Here we are. How many horses are on each team in a polo match? So each team. How many horses on each team in a polo match? Nope, not 7. Not 5. Nearly, Chucky, nearly. No. Wait a minute, I might get it. It's 5. No, it's not actually. It's not. Close. Very close. Got me confused there. No, it's not 5. That's it, Maud. It's 4. 4 nags. Here we are. Which and this was an infamous one, wasn't it? Where a certain person with a little moustache appeared and wasn't very happy who won it. Which European city hosted the 1936 Summer Olympics? Which European city hosted the 1936 Summer Olympics? Infamous one. That's it, Jockney Berlin. Very infamous, that one. The mass race didn't win. Right, ask something about TV now. Hey, well, what's the name of the tower block where Del Boy and Rodney lived in Only Fools and Horses? What was the name of the tower block where Del Boy and Rodney lived in Only Fools and Horses? That was Berlin, the previous one. Not Beckham. That's it. Nelson Mandela House. Hawaii narrative, Nelson Mandela House. Here we are, quick one off the top of my head, right? What does the Mandela effect refer to? What does the Mandela effect refer to? Oh yeah, that's right. So he was not happy, was he, with Jesse Owens? Not happy at all. That's sort of like piddled on his that's it, so you see, it'll never happen. The Mandela effect refers to something that people believe happened. The vast majority of people believe happened, but never did. Yeah, that's right, Kelsey, as well. It's when something never happened, but people are convinced it happened. For somehow, no one works out how it actually happens, but it does, and people become convinced by it. Here we are now. What is the name of Mackenzie Crook's character in the sitcom The Office? Oh, that was funny. What is the name of Mackenzie Crook's character in the sitcom The Office? And if you get his first name, that will be all right. Oh, Craig. That's it. Kelsey's got it. Gareth Keenan. Well, I like that book, preferred Extras. Extras was just so funny. I mean, do you know what? Honest to God, it was just so spot on. It is spot on. Oh, Stephen, The Office was good, but I thought Extras was better. I think because I worked in the entertainment industry and it was about the entertainment industry, everything was just so right about, it was brilliant. He just got it, the pompousness of it, the falseness of it. He just, and people, that's it. He was, oh God. If you've never seen Extras, please watch Extras. I'll see if any of it's on YouTube. He gets it so right. No, it doesn't look like it's on there. Clips are, but Ricky Gervais, I don't care what anyone says, he just understands people so well. And he goes right for it. And he just doesn't care. I mean, and I think that's why so many famous people, really famous people, agreed to be in Extras, because they knew that he was pointing out truth about it. He really was coming out with some truths. Look, brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. But he gets cold now because of what he said about trans people. Oh, get real. You know, people just have to lighten up. They do. Right. Here we have some film ones. Good film ones. Let's see. Here we are. Which, and this is another one of my favourites. Which 2014 Seth Rogen film caused the North Korean government to threaten action against the United States? Which 2014 Seth Rogen film caused the North Korean government to threaten action against the United States? That's it, The Interview. That was I remember that. Oh, they were fuming, weren't they? They were threatening to bomb the cinemas where it was put on. Let's see. What is the name of the bride played by Uma Thurman in Tarantino's Kill Bill? What's the name of the bride, Uma Thurman, in Tarantino's Kill Bill? And that's not. I like the first Kill Bill film, but the other one, the second one, was a bit too long, wasn't it? And I'll tell you something about that. I don't know whether I've told people before about the sons. That's it, Beatrix Kiddo. But I've actually got swords in my attic that were made for the film. You know, and they just stuck in the attic. Got them a few years back. Let's see some other ones. Anyway, I know you're all hot on geography. You all love your geography, so I've got to ask geography questions. Here we are. Here we are. Johnny, you better get this. You've got to get this, Johnny. Which UK city is situated further west? Bristol or Edinburgh? Or Edinburgh, if you are American. Which UK city is situated further west? Bristol or Edinburgh? Or Edinburgh, if you were American? Which is furthest west? And Johnny's going to run in there and say, I know that straight away. Oh, Jockney. How could you? How could you? It's Edinburgh or Edinburgh. How could you? How could you? Shame on Jockney. What do the French, here we are, what do La France call the English Channel? What do the French call the English Channel? Well, Bristol isn't as far east as it. See, you slipped up there, didn't you, Kelsey? Migrate. I think that's right. The fish. Oh, one you must know. No one knows French. Yeah, just because you live there, so you just know you know exactly its compass point. Go and Google it and see where it is. Ask where put the question in. Put the question in, which is furthest west, Bristol or Edinburgh. The answer is La Mancha. La Mancha. La Mancha. No, you didn't. Oh, Selkie, you've been cheating. We've got it now. We've got Selkie's been cheating, admitted it, Googled it. Didn't you? Googled it. So, caught you out. Yeah. Oh, that was funny. Yeah, I Googled it. Here we go. Let's see. Oh, that's a bit too blatant, long-winded, that question. Let's see. Here we go. What? Oh, that's cat. I'm not asking that question. Some of the questions are absolutely stupid. Here we go. What number is a baker's dozen? What number is a baker's dozen? What number is a baker's dozen? That's it. Everyone got it? 13. And do you know the history behind that? Because I remember learning this in school. The reason they did that was because I think it was the Elizabethan age, or it might have been just before. Something's put in my head that was Elizabethan age, because food was so expensive and resources were so expensive at that time. They had to rely on bread. That was the staple diet. People bread and ale. And so there were very strict laws. I'm sure it was Elizabeth's government that brought her into power. If if a baker was found underselling, it was a serious crime during those days. So to ensure they didn't undersell, by mistake they'd put an extra one on, and that's why they get 13. So that's why you get that, because they were 10. And to give you a clue, there was a brilliant few years ago television thing on about this, about relative. You know how much something back then would have cost in today's money. Believe me, things like we take for granted now, let's say chickens, it was ridiculous. I wonder if I can find it on the just let's see if I can find it, if it's anywhere on the internet. How much would that cost in 1500s? It's ridiculous when you see the prices. Anyway, what's this? It's ridiculous. Let's see, but there was actually a program by And don't forget a labourer. I've just got this from here. Got a labourer on good money got £2 a year. Don't forget. Back then. Now, ale was very cheap. They kept because they couldn't drink the water because it was so polluted. Oh, it's got in stupid. They're not actually that one's not telling you what the. But it was ridiculous. What it was, a chicken. Because we all think that they were eating chicken. Yeah, if they had their own chickens, but very rare would they actually kill one and eat it. For the reason was, it was something astronomical. If I remember, and I might be wrong, but it was something like a chicken. If you bought a chicken, you're talking about it would be something ridiculous like 80 quid back then. If you were to buy one. And it cut down all the foods, and they said what we take for granted now. So this idea of the peasants eating chicken just wasn't true. They might have a chicken on a very special occasion or a feast day, but it was rare that they did it, and they'd usually feed their own. There was basically gruel and bread. Yes, they didn't. So, but that's why you have baker's dozen anyway, my lovelies, is because it was a serious crime to undersell bread back then. But ridiculous price when you think of it. That's why they used to poach as well. And don't forget, you could be hung for poaching because you get a bit of eel in the. We think it's expensive getting real now. You know, out of what you call it, at supermarkets. Back then, it would have been hundreds of pounds in relative wise in today's money. Because, of course, they didn't have supermarkets. You had to grow all your own, didn't you, back then? Or go to the market, which was extremely overpriced. So when people go on about the golden age and how when we lived off the land, this is what used to get me. When we lived off the land, it was so much better and all wonderful. No, it wasn't. It was bloody hard work. Your diet was very restricted to seasonal stuff. And you usually died young, very, very young. Here we are. Baguette. Yeah, real baguette's nice. The French baguette, the real one's nice. But it goes stale dead quick, doesn't it? You have to eat it more or less straight away. Do you know what? This little. It's gone. I'll give up the quiz because it's gone into its own little chat. You have your own little chats in here, don't you? So I want to catch up on the chat because it's not even relevant to what I'm talking about. Oh, I haven't seen Orphan. I've seen the advertisement for it, but I haven't seen it. Yeah, little things go on here, don't they? Little chats go on all of their own. I haven't seen a horror film for a long time. Can't even remember what the last one I saw was. I'm not really into horrors. Not gory ones. I don't like ones about murders and stuff like that. When they're too real. You know, when you get things that could happen in reality. That's I don't like things like that. But what's the one then? No, what was a real? I didn't even go to see it because I thought this is going to be a lot of rubbish. Remember the Enfield Poltergeist one, The Conjuring 2, and I thought, oh, when I heard they were making the Enfield Poltergeist into, because I can remember when that actually happened. I'm the same age as the young girl that was Janice Hodgson, so we're both the same age, so I can remember it actually happening at the time, and. Not that I saw it. Let me just put. I didn't see it. I heard about it at the time. It was happening. But when the book came out, got the book, read it. Some parts were convinced by, other parts I wasn't convinced by. I thought this is, these two girls having fun here, too much fun. But when they said they were going to make the film, I thought that's going to be one hell of a boring film, because really, when you span it out, it happened over months. It was a long time, and not much really happened. And then I saw the ads for it, and you see this white face nun. There was no white face nun, and crosses turning upside down. There were no crosses turning upside down. There was nothing like that, and I thought, this is a load of rubbish. Well, it's not going to be like the genuine case, and it wasn't. Well, the deep voice, this is the thing I've always said, right? When you hear those recordings, don't forget they are reel-to-reel tapes. Everything sounded echoey and different on them. Not like today, where you can get really good sound quality recordings. It was rubbish back then. Now, you hear that, and all this, but you don't see it on the recordings. But what happened was, I think it was Northwest Tonight or somewhere, went down and filmed them as it was happening. And Janet starts coming out with this deep voice, and you can see it. It's on YouTube. It's not one bit convincing. It just looks like a young girl. And they say her mouth didn't move. It does. It does move. It's just that she has buck teeth, so it's difficult to see her mouth. But you can tell she's putting it on. So that part of it, I never believed one bit. It's just a girl, and they say one of the SPR said something interesting. She was asked about, well, what about her going on for hours in this voice? Because they made it sound like she used to talk for hours. And they said if you talk for hours, talking like that, well, even for a few minutes, you'll lose your voice, but she'd go for hours. But as the SPR said, they said she didn't. She'd stop, then someone else would start. Then they'd stop, then someone else would start. Then she'd start again. And also, as I said, which is a good point, some people can do extraordinary things, and it doesn't mean there's anything supernatural about it. But when you look at it, you hear the tapes, it sounds convincing. You look at her doing it when she's being filmed, not one bit convincing. Yeah, it was Bill someone or other, it wasn't it? They said it was. But as someone said, and this is what happened with the Enfield Poltergeist, it was really rubbish the way they investigated it. It was too much. They wanted to believe something was going on. Now, something, in my mind, something definitely was going on. There was too many things that were seen by people that were too level-headed. They had no reason to lie about it. So definitely there was something happening. But it's like what one of the journalists said who visited the house. He said it got to be that when Maurice Grosse, who was the chief investigator, who believed everything, and that's a mistake for an investigator to automatically believe it, when he'd say something would happen. And even in the film with Janet, she's asked when did the voices start. She says, well, when Mr. Grosse said all that we need is for it to speak now. See what I'm saying? Suddenly it starts speaking. So they were taking the lead off him. But what it seems to have been is that something genuine was going on there, genuine poltergeist activity. But the girls ran with it because they were getting attention and were expected to perform. So they started faking a lot of it. That's what it seems to be to me. And the biggest thing that shows Janice up, as far as I'm concerned, and her sister Margaret, is for the advertising for the film, for the Conjuring 2. She turns around and says she's thankful for them telling the true story. It's not the true story. Nothing happened. There were no nuns in it. There were no crucifixes turned upside down. There was the two psychics that are supposed to be in it, investigators, visited the house once. So that was a lie as well. So why did she say the true story when she knew it was over-exaggerated and turned into a completely different story? Because she's lying. And that's the problem she's got. But something happened, but definitely there's faking going on there at the same time. Oh, I believe there's something. Whether it's the spirit of the departed is another question, because my mama used to always say this, she said, be careful, she said, because you know when you're a kid, you're interested in all this spooky stuff, aren't you? She said, you don't know what you're talking to is who they claim to be. And that always stuck in my mind. And that's why I say, leave well alone. Going on a ghost hunt for fun is all right. But when people start trying to contact things, I say, so you don't know what you're contacting. And it's, to me, it's pretty dangerous. And nearly every religion in the world tells you not to do that, because you don't know what you're contacting. It could say that it's someone related to you, and because it's got the right information that that person would know, doesn't mean it's them. And that's what gets me. I think, oh no, leave it alone. Because people have asked me, do you want me to give you a reading? No. Do you want to play Ouija board? No. Because I say, look, leave that alone. If we're meant to know things like that, we'd know it automatically. We wouldn't have to do silly little rituals or anything to know it. I just don't like taking chances like that. Let's see. Now, I don't like, it's, there was one, and you get some people, and I remember there used to be a woman in Wales. She was nice, so I'm not saying this to diss her or say she was a horrible woman. She wasn't. Police officer, she wasn't. And she used to go round, which is actually, she could have gotten, well, she wouldn't have got in trouble, but officially she could have. She used to go around asking people if they believed in Jesus and if they'd found Jesus and all this. And I used to think, she's pushing it there. Someone's going to go mad if she keeps on asking that. So she was into a Bible and all this. And then she came in this day and said that she was doing angel cards. And she said, what I do is to say the Lord's Prayer before I do this, these angel cards to predict the future and all that. And I said to her, I said, you do realise that that's blasphemy, what you say there? She said, what? I said, have you actually read the Bible and what it says about communicating with spirits? I said, it's a mortal sin. You're not supposed to. You're not even supposed to. Angel cards, I said, didn't I? Yeah, that was angel cards. I said, you're not supposed to try and communicate with angels. The Bible expresses it, don't, and so does the Quran. Because it says there's good angels, or as the Quran says, jinn. There's bad ones who will try to harm you and are out to harm you. And there's ones that are indifferent. In other words, it's what mood they're in, whether they like you or don't like you. In other words, they're very like humans. So you best leave them well alone, because you don't know them, you can't see them, and you can't control them. So anyway, I said to her, you doing that is committing a sin. She said, oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. She was absolutely panicking. I said, it is. I said, read it. I said, you're the one that's into the Bible. I said, read it about what it says about spiritualism. I said, it puts it right next to homosexuality. And that's supposed to be a sin according to the Bible. So I said, look at it. I said, it says it in the same sentence. Spiritism, it calls it. So I don't know when the chat, she gave an angel card. So, but God, no, you're not supposed to try and encourage angels to communicate with you, if such things exist. No, I'm an angel, Jim. And this is a question, right? What is an angel? What is an angel? If they exist. And do we become angels? Now, I've always been told no. They're different from us. They're a completely different creation that were around before we were around. But others say that we're actually just angels sent down to be humans for a while. Yeah, but it's a bad design narrative. This is the thing. It's like when they say about the eye. You know, it's when creationists say about the eye, it could never have evolved. But the thing is, maybe there is creation there, but it's not a good creation. As any doctor will tell you, we can only see a tiny percent of what we're looking at. We can only focus in on a tiny percent of what we're actually looking at. We have provisional vision, but it's all blurred. Plus, also, the delicate. It's easy to injure your eyes. I mean, if you're out in the wild having to hunt and all this, your eyes can easily get injured. So it's not a brilliant design. Also, we've stood up too quick. That's a flaw. And as for the universe, it's this huge, expansive universe, but it seems to be a lot of it unnecessary. Why is it so big? Why is because we're not finding anything there, are we? And there's too many things that can kill us as well out there. So is it? It's. I agree with you if they at this, which they say, don't they? If you just take one little aspect of it, it wouldn't exist. So from that point of view, it does look like it's designed. But you've got to understand this is all we know. This we'd have to see another universe where it isn't like this to compare the two and say, well, is that designed or not? And it could just be that we're in the one where it's like this, let's put it this way. But yet you're right. If one little thing changed in the universe, it wouldn't have happened. It's like the Earth. I mean, the coincidences surrounding the Earth are being able to evolve, have life on it, and result in us. It's absolutely astronomical. You change one, people think, oh, you're just in the Goldilocks. So it's way, 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 way more than that. Way more than that complicated. There's lots of things that if they hadn't happened, life would never have got started on Earth. Never. So it does look like it, but at the same time, you've got to say this is all we know. So an alien looking at us could say, actually, it's not all that special, It's just random chance. You'd have to have another intelligence being able to look at it and give their view on whether it's because we're seeing it from our point of view. And we can only see things from our point of view. You need another intelligence that can communicate, and they may have a completely different rationale. How do you know nothing comes from nothing? What is nothing? There's no such thing as nothing. You have to come on sometime. We could have you talk about things that I like to talk about, but you have an alternative view, but which is interesting because I don't like talking to people that agree with me all the time. Nothing comes from nothing. There's no such thing as nothing. Try and explain what nothing is. It's nothing is the only thing we have in the language of the humans that doesn't exist. Nothing describes something that doesn't exist. Think about it. But nothing is nothing, as in it doesn't exist. See how difficult it is to try and explain it? You can't, can you? Because you end up having to say nothing is nothing. But does that mean nothing is nothing? Is something? Or nothing is not? It could do your head in, couldn't it? No, blackness is something. Total blackness is something. Blackness is something. When you look at the voids in space, they're not empty. They've still got atoms in them. You've got one atom. You've got something. So it's not total blackness. Blackness itself is something. It's like when people say, what is the universe expanding into? It's not expanding into anything. It's just expanding because nothing exists until it's there. So it doesn't have an edge. It's not expanding into anything. It doesn't need to. And it's like when they say, where did the Big Bang happen? What location in the universe did the Big Bang happen? It happened everywhere. Where you're sitting right now, it happened. The Big Bang is the universe, isn't it? So that's how difficult describing nothing is, because nothing doesn't exist. And here's another one. Is the great thing in Earth regarding humans is intelligence, but is that going to end up with us going extinct? Because they reckon that's what will lead to you becoming extinct as a species. and why it might be very, very, very rare to find alien life. Because the minute something develops a high enough intelligence, they're too successful to take over the world. Look what we've done now. When I was born, there were just over 3 billion people on the planet. Now, in just over half a century, there's 9 billion. And that will double in much, much quicker rate than half a century. And that means we're heading at a vast rate. Well, they know we're in an extinction phase now. They've said that we're actually going through one at the moment. Look at all the lovely animals you've got, because a lot of them won't exist soon enough. Yeah, that's true. Sometimes it's best to go, oh, we'll just exist, not to. We'll agree not to agree. You can't even say that. You just have to say yes, don't you? And hope that they don't think that you're being funny about it. Yeah, so it's you have to come on sometime now because we have interest in the same thing but have different opinions of it, and I think it's always interesting to talk to someone that doesn't have the same opinion as you. Because I know when you go and you meet someone and say, "Oh yes, yes," it's like, "Oh, please say something so we can have a debate about it." Because it just and usually that happens to me, now because I'm always right, and people who are intelligent always agree with me. No insulting. No, what was that, Attila? You're getting all ampersand on us. Oh, isn't that, yeah, ampersand, aren't I posh? Aren't I posh knowing that? I've seen Dr. Apple hasn't called in. I'm distraught. Not Dr. Apple, ooh, Pooey. I don't like him anymore ever since he started climbing up Decker's hoop. No, um, my lovely Carmel Corner hasn't called in. He usually calls in. He's not now. I mean, if nothing is nothing, then that means nothing is something. Exactly. That's the issue. That's the problem. If nothing exists, it means it's something. Right. I'm enjoying looking at this chat. Seagulls are doubling in size. Just the raptors after being Big Bang we could be in. Well, I find this thing that fascinating that we're inside a huge, must be enormous, black hole. But they're actually taking that very, very seriously that we're inside a black hole. And they say they can see evidence of ancient black holes that used to be there. So the theory now they're coming up with that, when you said the question, what did the universe come out of? Because they tried to say the universe came out of saying nothing came out of nothing. But come on, that's like saying believe it and see it not, isn't it? It's like saying that that way it doesn't explain it. But now what they're saying is that if it was black holes that create the universe, what happens is every so often a universe will destroy itself, blow up in a black hole, and another one is created out of it, another universe. So it's just a universe that keeps on replacing itself for eternity. But of course, the question is, what happened at the well, you see, this is another thing where I say about humans. We have to be. Are you Big Billy? Thank you for calling in. Headhunter as well. Um, this is another fascinating thing. We can only see time. Now, even religions have addressed this issue. As humans, everything we know around us has a beginning and an end. So we cannot imagine, or even the greatest scientists, and scientists will tell you this, geniuses will tell this, we do not have the potential to be able to compute what eternity is or infinite. We can't, because nothing in our life or experience can express it. It's like there's a famous little parable. It's not in the Bible, but I love this. And then my mama used to tell me this. A scientist was walking along a beach, wondering, trying to work out about eternity. In other words, there's no beginning. There's never been a beginning. There's never been an end. Like they say about God, there was never a beginning to God. He's always been there. There's never an end. And he was trying to work this out. How can something never have a beginning and never have an end? And he saw this little boy with a sand bucket, and he was getting the sea and putting his little spade in the sea and putting the spades full of water in the bucket. So the little man thought this was interesting. So the scientist, thought this was interesting. Said to the little boy, he said, "What are you trying to do?" And he said, "I'm trying to put the ocean into this sand bucket." And the scientist laughed and went, "Oh, don't be silly. The ocean's much, much too big for you to get into that little bucket." The little boy looked up to him and said, "And also, you being able to understand what eternity is will never fit inside your mind." Isn't that just a wonderful little story? So the little boy was saying to the scientist, you trying to work out what eternity is the same as me trying to get this ocean into this little bucket, because the bucket was the mind of the scientist, and as humans we can't. So there could be time. See, time is the thing. It's a subjective thing as well. You can see it as being subjective, even though we don't think of those terms, because we know different animals on the planet see time differently. To some it goes faster, to some it goes slower. And we know out in space, because of the gravitational pull, time will go different from different planets, depending on the mass, the size, where they're located. So the idea of the universe being eternal and never having a beginning, or it's always been in Big Bang, destroyed, then Big Bang, then destroyed, then Big Bang, and destroyed, like a cycle. We can't work that out because our brains are wired to be able to even imagine where it could be. So that's exciting, isn't it? Well, they reckon it's going to be gazillions of years, don't they? Gazillions. See, the only other option is, and they don't know for sure whether it's right about this black hole thing, exploding black holes that create new universes in a rotation. But if it isn't, they know that we're living in a very special time period, even though it will go on for billions and billions and trillions of years, this epic, I should say. Eventually, as they say, the lights will go out. All the stars, because stars are also created by stars that explode. I mean, they reckon our sun would have been the result of two other suns before it exploded somewhere that helped create it. So they keep on recycling each other, but they can only do it for so long. Then in the eons and eons and eons of time, each one will run out, go out, and if the universe doesn't explode and create another one, it will just be a dark, cold place that will just go on and on and on for what will be eternity. So, oh God, do you see the conversations you have here? See, I have intelligent people in my chat. I do, because we talk about intelligent stuff. Isn't this better talking about what beard you saw and what beard you've been with and all this? Isn't it, eh? Isn't it all scallops and all that? Yeah, like, yeah, I'm telling you now, this is the place to be for intelligent people. And I'm just going to have a little look there now. So good, nicey, nicey. Here we are. Here we are. Do you think of here we go. And do you think artificial abuse will lessen human intelligence? I don't know. It could be dangerous. Well, they reckon, don't they? I heard this a long time ago. If you notice, there's a lot more people being born with conditions or disorders, shall we put the brain, shall we put it that way? And they reckon what it is, if our brains are sort of evolving to the point, this is where I say too much intelligence, I reckon, leads to extinction. Because you either get too successful, and that means you destroy your own planet by using up all the resources on it, or your brain just gets too. Because this idea, of a big head, that we're going to have huge heads with a big brain in it, and that will make us more intelligent. No, actually, if your brain goes any bigger, the electric charges between the neurons can't communicate as quick. So you'd be let's put, what would be the word? You'd have severe learning difficulties. Severe learning difficulties if you had a huge brain, because the neurons couldn't communicate with each other quick enough. But also, there's a thing, retrograde step. Now, I don't know how much to take this. That actually what we're doing is we're going backwards intelligence wise. I'm not convinced by that, because what it is, there's always been stupid people. There's always been stupid people, and that's the only way I can talk about it. And you've got stupid people like now who, believe in witches, casts, and cases, and actually are dangerous and will kill someone thinking they're a witch and all that. They still have dark age thought patterns. That's the type of person I call stupid. It's not that they anyway learn difficulties, they're just thick. So there's always been stupid people, but it's just that there's more of us around now. So you notice the stupid people more often than what you would in the past. And because we've got the internet, we can see them every day. Well, the species that survive in evolution are the ones that adapt to their environment best, not the ones who exactly adapt their environment to suit them. We're going downhill as humans, and that's it. We're too successful. Look, this is what people keep on avoiding. We can't keep on reproducing the way we are. The elderly are living too long. Look, right, I remember hearing a saying once, when someone gets really old and medical science is keeping them alive, are you actually keeping them alive or just extending and prolonging death? Especially when they're in, a condition where they can't get about or whatever. And also, the natural way of things is that if you left it up to nature, vast majority of children will be stillborns. Vast majority of children will die in infancy. Being very old was rare in nature. So now that's all changed. And nature's way has been upset, it's been turned on its head, so that we're heading, well, we know which way. I always say I'm so thankful I'm as old as I am. So thankful, because I may see the ways of it beginning, but I'll be flying out of my body before I just think if it's not sorted soon enough. I mean, I was looking at, you see, two little babies in the supermarket, and cute little days old baby. She was cute. And I just looked, and as I looked, I thought, my God, what's she going to see as she grows up? What's she going to see? If it carries on like this, she's going to see famine, she's going to see wars, she's going to see it all. And it's like, thank you that I'm going to fly away from this before it gets to its worst. Oh, aren't I sounding positive? Aren't I sounding positive? But I'm telling you, people on here heeding the warning, neither of the governments, we're heading in a bad direction. A bad direction. Here we are, and there Jockney Sparrow, being positive, says, big up Lady Penelope. I can't see big up. Where's Lady Penelope? Is there a Lady Penelope in here? Are you talking about John? Are you talking about Lady Penelope as in the what was it? The that space thing by Jerry Anderson. Thunderbirds. So that's I've cheered everyone up, haven't I, with that thought? Haven't I cheered you all up? Oh, it was yeah, Lady Penelope you were talking about Headhunter. Who's Lady Penelope? I've lost it. I can't see it in the chat. Oh, Thunderbirds, yeah. Oh, Lady Penelope. Yeah, I thought I was right, Lady Penelope. Captain Scarlet. Hey, that was a puppet that was really good looking, wasn't he, Captain Scarlet? If Captain Scarlet was a real man, he'd have the ladies and he'd have the men swinging up his arm, wouldn't he? Quite a handsome puppet was Captain Scarlet. So anyway, darlings. Oh, we've done the quiz, Headhunter. You've missed it. But then we got talking. Really got on about space. I think it was Narrative Destroy got onto the subject of the universe, and it got really interesting. Very, very interesting. Yet it was so sealed. Captain Scott was quite dishy, wasn't he, for a puppet? If he was a real, I'll tell you something funny before I go. Do you remember Shrek when he was turned into a human? Right? This is true, I swear down my life. When I was at Speaker Station, there was this Scottish officer, and they used to call him Shrek because he was big build fella, only young, and his accent was exactly the same. If you close your eyes, you'd think it was Shrek talking. Anyway, I swear down, when that film came out, when Shrek turns into a human, that is exactly what this officer looked like. He did not look, it was weird. It was like, oh my God. So look at the cartoon of Shrek turned into a human in the film. And imagine him as a real human, and this is what this police officer looked like. And sounded like. It was so freaky. We were all laughing, but he used to get called Shrek all the time. But when we saw the film, it was like, oh my God, it looks like him. It did not look like him. I wonder what happened to him. He was really nice, but I know he tried to get back to Edinburgh. I think he was in Edinburgh police he tried to get back to, and they didn't because he had kids and he wanted to go back home with them. And with his wife and kids wanted to go back home, but couldn't get in for some reason. And he did not look upset when he couldn't go back home. Wonder if he ever got back up there. Don't know whether he did. But anyway, my lovelies, I shall see you again. And sometime I say, you'll have to come on and have a talk with me, Narrative, about different things. Can have a good chim out, but I insist on one thing. If you start going man at the end of every sentence, like man and that man and this man and that man, and yet the universe man and nothingness man, I'm going to ban you because people know what I'm like when people say man all the time, or bro, or brother, or awesome and all that. So get ready. Anyway, so yeah, it'd be interesting to have a chat with you sometime. So everyone, my darlings, I will say good night to you. Have a good night, and tomorrow I'll be sanding. I'll be back on. It's Wednesday. Is it Wednesday today? Oh, this is age for you. This is age. What's the date today? Yeah, it's Wednesday today. So I'll be back Friday, 8 o'clock. Good night, Maud. Good night, Lucius. Good night, Headhunter. Good night, everyone that's in the chat. Selkie. Everyone. Night, night, darlings.